Welcome back to another episode of the GC Release Radar. I am Snowy, otherwise known as Count Fracula, and we're going to round up some of the week's releases in some weird roundabout fashion. We will start today with Holy Potatoes, and that franchise has come out with another game called Holy Potatoes What the Hell? And the Holy Potatoes franchise is a bit weird. They've had 3 games now. The first was called Holy Potatoes A Weapon Shop. The second, Holy Potatoes Were in Space. And this one, Holy Potatoes What the Hell? None of these games are similar in many ways at all. This one is a cooking simulator. You play as a potato again, and it is, quote, a wacky, hell-themed cooking management sim where you take the role of a chef in an afterlife populated by potatoes. Because of course you do. Again, the sort of irreverent humour style of the Holy Potatoes franchise is evident here, and they've got quite a few funny little things like Loki being in hell. What? Why? What? Who? I'm very confused by this franchise and what it does, but that's what makes it interesting, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, it is all simulation management-y type things, but all in their sort of own way, their own strange little thing. And this one's cooking in hell, and it's confusing, but it's, you know, it's $5.79. A weird price, but you know, it's worth a look. Next, we have the first VR title that I've ever covered on Release Radar. It's not very often that I'm going to cover VR titles because it's a very niche market, but this is one of the more popular ones by far, and it has just left early access, which is actually the same for 1 or 2 of the games on today's list. At $7.36, if you own a VR headset, this is not a bad deal at all. And I'm very much considering getting a VR headset in the next couple of months, so we'll see what happens there. But in this case, yeah, it's basically something is like Space Invaders and that kind of thing. It's a shooter, except you're doing the shooting, and you have like a shield. You have to block from robots and all this kind of stuff. And it looks amazing. It looks gorgeous. From what I've seen and heard of the game, it plays very, very well, especially on a Vive. And yes, definitely, if you've got a VR headset, this now coming out of early access means it is definitely worth your time to go and pick up. Again, $7.36, not a lot of money. And next on the list we have Dungeons 3, the sequel to Dungeons 2. How funny. Now, I have actually done a video on Dungeons 2 over on my own channel, and I can tell you for free that this game, well, that game at least, is pretty damn great. It's basically Dungeon Keeper, but with the narrator from the Stanley Parable doing a voiceover. I don't know if that's carried over to this, but based on that, fucking great. More dungeons. This series, the way it has basically just become Dungeon Keeper, and it's done what EA failed to do with the franchise, definitely worth a look. The original Dungeons, I've no idea how well that went, but Dungeons 2 was very good and only costs $18.99 now. But if you want the latest game in the series, which I'm definitely considering picking up, it is £30, the highest priced release on our list this week. But from what I've seen of it, it looks very much like Dungeons 2 and Dungeon Keeper, which is a very good thing. And finally, this week, we have only 4 games that I'm covering, but this one is a game that has been in early access for a very long time, and it is finally coming out. The game is called Overgrowth, and my goodness, is it some of the best fighting you will ever experience in a game. The whole physics of everything involved in the fighting in this game. This is one of the best melee fighting engines you will ever see in a game. Frankly wonderful. It was wonderful when it was in a beta, to be honest, and they've just spent the last couple of years, well, I think it's about 6 years. It's been in development for a very long time, and they've just spent that time honing this engine, honing everything about it, and making it amazing. There's also a campaign in, and when I last played it, it was in a very early access. The campaign had just sort of started existing, and it was a little bit sort of slapdash, and hopefully they've improved that. In fact, the footage you're seeing on screen is one of my videos playing it, because I still have that, and I can't be bothered to record more footage. Again, though, you are here in this game for the fighting engine. It is frankly... this sells the game. There is an arena mode. In the arena mode, you are plopped in the arena against a selection of enemies of increasing difficulty, and you have to sort of get through the stages. You gain and lose fans depending on how many you win and lose, and that's my favourite mode of the game. Hopefully that's still around. But other than that, they've got a level editor. You can make your own levels, you can do your own things. It's a very, very open-ended, customizable game. It costs $22.99, quite expensive for an indie game, but the fighting engine sold me on this game almost immediately. Go out, if you love a good melee engine, you need this game in your life. And that brings us to the end of another Release Radar. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a like, subscribe, or a share, whatever you fancy. Our social links are down in the description, along with the link to our Discord. If you liked me, I can be found on Twitch at twitch.tv/metalnerddude. I can be found on Twitter at @SnowyDuffield, and I can be found in the GameCast Discord. As always, stay tuned to GameCast for more news, reviews, let's plays, podcasts, and lots of other lovely little things, and basically everything you could want gaming-wise. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week for more releases.